Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody to our program tonight. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. Thank you for all being here, guys. We appreciate you all coming to look at our program tonight. We're going to start this program off with a salute to the United States of America. We would ask now that everybody please rise for the singing of the United States National Anthem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still right there.
America's finest, the United States Army Barbershop Quartet, performing at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. We want to let all of our members of our military know how much we appreciate and love them very much. Every time I meet one of our military members out on the street in uniform, I thank them for their service. I shake their hand and thank them for their service. This is common courtesy for me because many of our servicemen and women have served in our country's military, and our country has treated them like garbage. And I made it a habit for me and my family to recognize our military members as human beings, having served their country. I want to thank all of our military, whether they be here in the United States or overseas. I want to thank our brothers and sisters in the military service of their countries, our allied services. We love them as well because they help us protect the world. They put their lives on the line as well for all of us. God bless all of our military members, wherever you might be. May you all return home to your families after your tours of duty end. And thank you all for your service. With that said, I want to move on with what we're going to be talking about tonight. Last night, and some of you might have seen this on my community page here on Emergency Management Associates on YouTube. Last night, Russia launched one of their hypersonic ICBMs into Ukraine. A missile strike in Ukraine. This is what it looked like when it hit one of the buildings in Ukraine. It almost looked like, and I'm going to say this straight out, it almost looked like an atomic bomb had hit. Now, it was not a nuclear weapon. It had no nuclear warhead on it. But if you look at this photograph, that is exactly what it looked like. That is exactly what it looked like. Now, I was up. I did a short broadcast last night at approximately 11 p.m. when Russia first launched missiles at Ukraine. Now, it took a lot of information going back and forth. I monitored ham radio frequencies. I monitored shortwave radio frequencies. All kinds of video I looked at. I looked at all kinds of video. At 11 p.m. last night, I came on the air and did a 60-second blurb here on YouTube. I wanted everybody to understand what was going on, and there's a reason. President Biden, gave Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky permission to launch U.S.-made long-range missiles at Russia. He also gave Zelensky permission to launch British-made missiles at Russia as well. Biden has no authority to have Ukraine launch British missiles at Russia because he did this. And the United States of America supplied the U.S.-made missiles. Russia said, Putin said that he would attack Ukraine and he would also attack those countries who supplied Ukraine with the weapons that Ukraine used against Russia. Again, last night, Russia launched an experimental hypersonic missile against Ukraine. It's a big deal. Okay? Russia hit a Ukrainian aerospace plant with that experimental hypersonic missile in the first use of a nuclear-capable weapon against Ukraine. The first ever use of a nuclear-capable missile at another country. This means that Russia can and will strike against anyone that they deem appropriate. We could have been part of that last night. Russia's Putin changed the wartime authorities from Russia. He changed everything so that he could attack the United States if he wanted to. And he could have done that. NCWQ Worldwide News and Disasters Explorer just gave us a $2 super chat. Thank you, Becky, for that. I just gave you an EMA sticker on your super chat. I gave you a thumbs up for that super chat. Thank you so much. But again, Russia changed its wartime authorities, saying that they could attack not just Ukraine, but anybody else that provided Ukraine with the missiles that they used against Russia. It could have happened last night. It didn't. It didn't. But he could have done that. Speaking in an unscheduled television address, Putin said, quote, "The combat testing of the Oreshik missile system is being conducted by us in response to NATO's aggressive actions against Russia. Russia's use of an ICBM follows claims that Ukraine fired both U.S. and British long-range missiles this week at Russia, after U.S. President Joe Biden gave Ukraine the green light to use Army tactical missile systems to attack deeper within Russian territory. According to the Moscow Times, a U.S. official confirmed that Russia launched an experimental intermediate-range ballistic missile at Ukraine. There was, among other things, a combat condition test of one of Russia's newest intermediate-range missile systems. Putin further went on. In this case, it was a ballistic missile in a non-nuclear hypersonic version. A non-nuclear hypersonic version. Now, Russia launched 6 missiles at Ukraine last night. The United States has a missile system that they have used to protect Israel, and they've also used it to protect Ukraine. Only one of Russia's missiles landed over that aerospace plant in Ukraine. Russia also put up 6 Tu Bear bombers. Russia put up 6 Tu Bear bombers in the air. And they also launched missiles and bombs on Ukraine last night. With that said, Russia also had other bombers and fighters in the air in the North Atlantic. They also had their fighters and bombers up in the North Atlantic and the Pacific. They said they would attack England. Russia said it could attack England at will. Russia said it was their response to U.S. plans to produce and to deploy intermediate and short-range missiles to support Ukraine's defense against Russian invasion and occupation. Now, Putin fired the first shot 3 years ago, 1,001 days ago. Putin took the first shot at Ukraine 1,001 days ago. And yet Russia doesn't want anyone to defend itself. The reason Russia attacked Ukraine in the beginning, Putin is becoming an old man. Putin also has cancer. Putin has been trying to unite the countries that fell off of the Soviet Union when he first was president of Russia. He wanted to bring them back under Soviet control. That's why Putin attacked Ukraine. Putin was also ready to attack other countries as well. Poland, for example. The United States of America had a Stratotanker up in the air over eastern Poland, just in case the Polish F-16s went into the air so that our Stratotanker could refuel their fighters. because Russia said that he was going to attack Poland as well. Putin said Russia will issue notifications before using their weapons and going on in the future. He said, we will do it due to the humanitarian concerns. They will use these missiles for humanitarian concerns. Really? Humanitarian concerns are saving lives. So Russia's Putin has lied to the American people and lied to the people of the world. Russia is going to use their missiles and their war machine to attack at will wherever they decide they're going to do it. It has nothing to do with humanitarian concerns. Now, not only did we have one of our Stratotankers in Poland up in the air to refuel Poland's fighter planes, we also had other planes in the air as well. Off of the Pacific Ocean, the United States Air Force launched a nuke sniffer. An Air Force fighter plane that is used to snip nukes. At first, they circled over the coastline of the West Coast at 4,000 feet high. Then they went up to 10,000 and 30,000 feet. They wanted to make sure that any missiles that Russia launched were not nukes. If Russia had launched a nuke in the air, our nuke sniffing plane would have sniffed almost immediately the radiation as a result of that firing and landing of the nuclear missile in Ukraine. Fortunately, it was not a nuclear missile. Fortunately. But again, Putin says he's going to launch those missiles and the armament of the Russian military for humanitarian concerns, without any concerns about any countermeasures from the enemy, who also received this information. The United States military also had 2 command and control planes in the air. One command and control plane, a doomsday plane, was launched from the West Coast also into the air. Another command and control aircraft was launched from Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma, and it went directly south to the Gulf of Mexico, purportedly to be able to communicate with our long-range submarines under the water. Now, we had a lot of military aircraft up. However, the United States military has bases all over the world. And our military around the world stayed on the ground, just in case there were weapons used in the air that would have brought our planes down. But we were out in the air protecting the United States territory, our homeland. Putin also asserted last night that he has the right to attack Western countries that give Ukraine long-range defense weapons to counter Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Putin said that Russia would respond to further escalation. At least 2 people were injured in the central city of Dnipro in Ukraine last night. Now, right now it's nighttime in Ukraine. At approximately midnight Eastern Time, Ukraine will be getting light again. It'll be morning time. Russia likes to attack in the mornings. That's Russia's modus operandi. Will Russia attack Ukraine again late tonight here in the U.S. and early morning in Ukraine? It's unknown. But we are going to be up monitoring the situation. An industrial enterprise was damaged in Ukraine, and the bombs and missiles from Russia started two fires that broke out in the city. While the city mayor Boris Filatov said in a social media update that a rehabilitation center for people with disabilities had been struck. The boiler room was destroyed and the windows were blown out, and information about people is being clarified. The ICBM launched from Russia's southeastern Astrakhan region, is part of an airborne assault that happened between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. local time in Ukraine, compromising 7 cruise missiles launched from Tu-95 strategic Bear bombers. 7 cruise missiles from the Bear bombers, and an aeroballistic missile fired from a MiG-31K fighter jet. 6 cruise missiles were downed by our air defenses, operated by the United States military in Ukraine. That is according to our own Air Force, which did not state whether injuries or damage were caused by the ICBM. The ICBM traveling at 17,000 miles per hour and with a range of 3,400 miles, during which the travel of the missile went into space and came back down. It's called suborbital. These ICBMs can be configured to deliver nuclear or conventional warheads. At least 15 people, including 2 boys aged 16 and 17, were injured in the Russia cruise missile strikes on Kryvyi, 90 miles to the southwest of Dnipro. 9 people were hospitalized, including a 17-year-old boy. Among those injured were a 32-year-old man and a 24-year-old woman who were being treated in the hospital where they were reported to be in moderate condition. The attack partially destroyed an administration building. A 2-story residential building were also damaged. The mayor of Dnipro said that he was clarifying the details. Now, President Biden had been reluctant to sign off in Ukraine using the ATACMS ICBM long-range missiles against Russia because he had fears of escalating the war. The ATACMS missiles were first used in the theater on Tuesday this week. Ukraine this week also fired British-made Storm Shadow missiles into Russia for the first time. Biden told Zelensky it was all right to use both missiles. It's interesting. It's interesting how Biden is an outgoing president, and yet it appears that Biden is trying to start World War III before Trump gets into office. Putin has also said that he will only negotiate with President Trump. He will not talk to Biden, Harris, or anybody involved in their administration. He will only speak to Trump. Stuka Voloskov is in our chat, saying, I don't think a nuclear war is a winner for the attacker, whatever side launching the first strike. I agree. There is no winner. Only losers that die. Only people on the ground innocent people die because of people that have egos. Politicians that have egos. Stuka says some politicians think it's possible to win a nuclear war. It's not. Stuka, it's no winners at any time in any war, period. Whether it's nuclear or conventional weapons. There are no winners, only losers, including those politicians with big egos. Now, I want to tell you about something else. We've talked a lot about Alvin Bragg and that dipstick New York Attorney General of New York and Judge Marchand in New York. It came out today that the New York State Attorney General, Alvin Bragg, actually he's not the Attorney General, he's the Manhattan District Attorney. Alvin Bragg's assistant was robbed and attacked today by an illegal immigrant with 5 different arrests since last year. 5 different times these illegal aliens have attacked our citizens. And in this case, Alvin Bragg's own assistant. And the man that was arrested has attacked other people 5 times. The person that was arrested was a Venezuelan TDA gang, Tren de Aragua. We talked about this before. These gang members attack everywhere. And yet Biden and his people say, oh, it's not a big deal. It certainly is. It certainly is. Now, I want to play a short video, 1-minute video, of Speaker Mike Johnson today. I wanted to make sure everybody understands what's going on. So please give me your attention for this video, and then we'll discuss it.
Hello, everybody. I just want to make a statement for all of you here and be very clear. I was asked a question this morning at the leadership gaggle, and I rejected the premise because the answer is so obvious. For anybody who doesn't know my well-established record on this issue, let me be unequivocally clear. A man is a man, and a woman is a woman, and a man cannot become a woman. That said, I also believe, that's what Scripture teaches, what I just said, but I also believe that we treat everybody with dignity. And so we can do and believe all those things at the same time. And I wanted to make that clear for everybody because there's lots of questions. But that's where I stand. I've stood there my whole life, and those are facts. Hello.
Okay, those are facts. A man is a man, and a woman is a woman. And a man cannot become a woman. Why did this even come up in our government? Because, folks, a man was elected to Congress from Delaware, where Biden lives. This man was elected to be congressman in this last election. He wanted to go into a women's restroom. Now, his name now is Sarah McBride. He's a man dressing up as a woman. Female congressmen and congresswomen and senators have already said they don't want a man with a penis in a woman's restroom. Fact. Mike Johnson made this statement after initially dodging a question from a reporter who asked him whether McBride, who is transgender, is a man or a woman. A man is a man, and a woman is a woman. McBride is cross-dressing, the first transgender man in Congress. Johnson said, "Look, I'm not going to get into this. We welcome all new members with open arms who are duly elected representatives of the people. I believe it's a command that we treat all persons with dignity and respect, and we will. I'm not going to engage in silly debates about this. There is a concern about the uses of restroom facilities and locker rooms and all of that. This is an issue that Congress has never had to address before. And we're going to do that in deliberate fashion with a member consensus on this issue. And we will accommodate the needs of every single person. And that's all that I'm going to say about that." Johnson was asked about McBride's connection to South Carolina Representative Nancy Mace's controversial proposal to ban lawmakers and staffers from using single-sex facilities other than those that are corresponding to their biological sex. Some House Republicans have expressed support for that measure. Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene said that she backed Mace's proposal and referred to McBride as a man. And he, several times in a video posted on X. A man is a man no matter how they dress. And they have no right going into female restrooms. Now, they say that they're not going into female restrooms to attack females, but it has happened on numerous occasions over the years. Congressman Mace said Tuesday that Mike Johnson said to her Tuesday night that he would include it in the House rules. The outlet also reported that Marjorie Taylor Greene said during the House Republicans' closed-door conference on Tuesday that she would not use the same bathroom as McBride. Two Republicans who were at that meeting told reporters that Johnson assured Marjorie Taylor Greene that she and McBride would not have to share a restroom. I hope not. I hope not. Now there's some other things I want to discuss with you. Tuesday night into yesterday, Iceland erupted. Iceland erupted. There's been another fissure eruption in Iceland. This time it was north and west of Grindavik again. North and west of Grindavik. Now, look where it's at. This volcanic eruption in Iceland, the fissure is a lot shorter than any of the other fissure eruptions that have happened over the last 3 years.
Location
This one is
Northern Columbia, class light, magnitude 4.4, 15 minutes ago.
4.4 earthquake in northern Colombia, South America. This fissure eruption is way up north. It's north of Svartsengi, and it's north and east of the Blue Lagoon. But with that being said, guess what? It is still bellying out a lot of viscous lava. Viscous meaning very thin, watery lava. Now, this is where the Svartsengi is. Svartsengi is a power plant. It is a geothermal power plant where men have drilled into the upper magma chambers of the volcano to harvest steam to power turbines to generate electricity for Iceland, and then pulling the steam out of the volcano. They also provide water, both cold and hot water, from the Svartsengi power plant. Underneath the Svartsengi power plant, there is a huge magma reservoir beneath the surface. The magma reservoir had not completely filled up like it had in the past during past eruptions. This time it had not completely filled, and as a result, the tilt meters that are used to assess where the magma chamber is beneath the surface have said that it was not completely filled as it had been in the past. But the power plant is above the great big huge magma chamber. And scientists have always wondered how far that magma chamber, that magma reservoir beneath the power plant would get before there would be a volcanic eruption at the power plant, destroying the power plant. Now, just west of the power plant, there is a spa called the Blue Lagoon Spa. The Blue Lagoon Spa was closed on Wednesday morning. They transferred all the hotel guests out of the Blue Lagoon away from harm's way. Also, directly east and south of Svartsengi is a town called Grindavik. We've talked to you about that before. 3 eruptions ago, Grindavik was threatened. And in fact, one eruption took out 4 homes on the western side of Grindavik, destroying them from the hot, burning lava. Grindavik is not in harm's way as we speak right now, but it could be. It could be. Now, I want to talk about the Svartsengi power plant, because right directly beneath the power plant is where the magma reservoir is that supplied this latest eruption and all other past eruptions. Okay? And like I said, directly west of the Svartsengi power plant is the Blue Lagoon Spa. And as you can see from this map, the gray area that you see here are where the lava sits from past eruptions. The orange-red lava that you see here on the map has happened as it has come out of the ground and spread to the south. And it has gotten into the outer parking lot outside the defense wall outside of the Blue Lagoon Spa area. Okay? You can see the lava just barely getting to the parking lot in this map. It has reached the parking lot and has now covered the outside parking lot outside of the great big huge wall, a defensive wall that men have built around the Svartsengi area and the Blue Lagoon Spa. Okay? I want to make sure everybody understood that. Okay? But as you can see, this is where the eruption is coming from. And the lava is very, very viscous, meaning it's almost watered down. Now, what's going to happen? In this photo you see here, you see the defensive wall and the magma going to the defensive wall. The Blue Lagoon Spa itself is being protected by the defensive wall. As there's more and more magma on the ground, the lava level reaching the wall is going to grow higher. If the lava level grows as high as the top of the wall, it is possible that new lava coming from the fissure that has erupted could go over the wall and into the Blue Lagoon Spa. Right now that's not happened. It has not happened. They've gotten very lucky with this eruption. How long is this going to last? We don't know. We don't have a clue how long this is going to last. We're going to keep a close eye on this. Okay? I have friends over in Iceland. One of the Icelandic professors from Iceland's Icelandic University has gotten to be very friendly with me. And that's how I got these pictures from him. This huge wall that is surrounding the Svartsengi power plant and the Blue Lagoon Spa is also all the way around Grindavik as well. So if the lava wanted to go into Grindavik, it could not. The wall around Grindavik is 85 meters high. It's a huge mountain. So the lava will not be going into Grindavik, although Grindavik has now been evacuated. Just like the Blue Lagoon was evacuated. Nobody's over here. The main reason the Blue Lagoon and the town of Grindavik was evacuated is because you see all these toxic fumes going up into the atmosphere. The toxic fumes from the lava plume here that you see are SO2, sulfur dioxide, and carbon dioxide. Toxic gases. And if it is in high enough concentration, and there's someone that's going to breathe it, they could die. They could die. That is why they've evacuated the Blue Lagoon and Grindavik at this time. They don't believe it's going to happen again, but it could. It very much could. Now, I want to show you another slide here, if you just give me a second here. This is another picture that I was able to pull up here that shows the highway was cut off by the lava. I don't know why that's doing that. Just a second, guys. There we go. This is a picture I wanted you to see. The highway coming from the capital of Iceland, way north, goes all the way down to Grindavik. Well, the lava from this eruption has cut off the highway again. It's not the first time it's cut off the highway. But as you can see, there's been a lot of lava that has crossed the ground here. And it's cut off the highway. I want to show you a picture of the people in the car on the highway near this wall of lava. This will give you a good idea of what's actually going on there. Now, there's one other picture I want to show you. This is where the Blue Lagoon Spa is, okay? This is the outer parking lot for the Blue Lagoon Spa. The lava now has taken over this parking lot. You see this building, the service building for the Blue Lagoon Spa? The service building has also burned down to the ground as the lava has swallowed the service building. There's been a lot of destruction with this newest eruption. The people in Iceland did not believe that they had to protect this one parking lot because it never happened before. But now it has. Richard Smith is asking in the chat, can the sulfur and carbon dioxide mix with nitrogen and explode? It wouldn't be the sulfur and carbon dioxide mixing with the nitrogen that would cause it to explode. The way the nitrogen would explode is if there was extreme heat from the lava. Yes, then the nitrogen would explode. Okay? And that's a good question, Richard. Thank you for that. But I wanted to show you this particular picture because this parking lot no longer exists. Now I want to check something else here. I actually had a picture of that parking lot with a sign there, and it doesn't look like that picture made it to this. Darn it. I was hoping that there's a picture that says in Icelandic language, it says parking lot in the Icelandic language, and the lava was down at the bottom of that sign and was literally melting the sign from the bottom up. Unreal. Christine, I don't know why you would not have sound. According to my graphs that I have here, we still have good sound and good bandwidth to put on this program. Richard, Renee, Don, Sage Pup, and Demon Catman have said that we have good sound coming out to all of you. 5x5 means good sound. Demon Catman says go out of the program and come back in, and that should sort it out. And yes, that is true. Christine says it's too low. Maybe I need to talk louder. Maybe I need to talk louder. I was hoping that wouldn't be the case. Let me do this. Let me see what I can do to increase the sound here. Okay, guys, is this any better? I've increased my sound levels here. I didn't want to increase it too much because then it would be overpowering the microphone and my sound system here. Sage Pub says, yell! No, I don't want to do that because, again, it would overtax my sound system here and it would blow it out. I don't want to do that. Aaron Smith says device number 2 is back online. That's good. Catherine says she's perfect. That's great. 23 Angel Sci-Fi says it's fine there as well. S. Nort says it's fine there too. S. Nort, I want to thank you for your gift that you sent us, Carol and I. We got it yesterday, and I showed it to everybody here yesterday, and I wanted to thank you for it. I showed your gift yesterday to everybody here on the program. Let me show it to everybody again, just in case there are people here that didn't see it. S. Nora has been a friend of mine and a friend of our program for quite some time. She's been sending us little things off and on for quite a while now. Yesterday she sent us another package. Really cool package. Okay. Now if my big fingers will let me open this, there's a plastic bag here that she put it in and I put it back in. Okay, see that? Guess what? It gets better. Look at that. I have my own crystal ball again. I have my own crystal ball. I still can't get the crystal ball to tell me anything. Okay? I jokingly said I don't have a crystal ball. Okay? But it's cool. S. Nort, thank you for this. It's awesome. Carol and I love it. David Catman says his sign is really good, but once the sound is not distorted. Thank you for that, Dane. Appreciate it. But S. Norp, thank you for this. This is awesome. Carol and I really love it. In a previous package, she sent us, well, this one, let me open this one here. I thought Carol had taken these down to our living room, but she hasn't yet. This one here is a Christmas tree here. It has dogs on it. S. Norton knows that Carol and I love our Chihuahuas, and she sent us this Christmas tree along with this bangle here attached to it. That's really cool. Now let me put this back. Me and my big fingers aren't good at this. Yay, I got that back in the bag. Now let me open this other bag here. This is the other one that she sent. And look what we got. We got another Chihuahua here. And yes, Carol and I love this. Thank you so much. That is really cool. That's really cool. We love getting things that you guys sent to us. She also sent us a card telling Carol and I about her preparedness and things about her family. We really appreciate that. Yes, we love getting cards and letters from all of you. And occasionally, you guys, when you send us a card or letter, you can send us a donation in the middle of a letter or in the middle of your card. We really appreciate that as well. Our address is going right down the bottom of your screen right now, 104 North Green Street, Box 105, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. Our email address is also scrolling at the bottom of your screen, so you can email us as well. Anyway, guys, we appreciate that. We appreciate all of your support. Also, you guys can send donations to our PayPal and our Venmo addresses that are just below this video presentation tonight in the top of our program description. Go there to our PayPal or Venmo and send us donations there as well. That way, YouTube does not have a chance to take money. If you send it through Super Chat, YouTube can take upwards of 40 to 50% of it. They do that all the time. So if you want to support us, send it over to our Venmo or our PayPal locations, or send it through the post office. We've only had one occasion where a letter was opened and a check taken out of it. Only one time. The mail here is very safe. The mail here is very safe. Does anybody have any questions about the volcanic eruption in Iceland? It's ongoing. It's now in its third day. Sage Pup says, nothing scarier than being chased down the street by a Chihuahua. True story. I'm so embarrassed. I was chased down the street when I was a young man, very young, probably about 7, 8 years old, riding my bicycle, and a larger dog chased me down the street on my bike and tore my pants. Fortunately, didn't break skin when it bit me, just tore my pants. Arnold Smith says, Western Union is another avenue open to you. Yes, it is. Arnold Smith sent us, Carol and I, a birthday surprise through Western Union. Arnold, we really appreciate that. We really did. That was awesome. You and Donna and Gregory, who also sent us donation, helped us have a very, very great birthday celebration at one of the finer restaurants here in Morganton. A steakhouse is where we went for our birthday dinners. It was awesome. It was awesome. Do you guys have any questions about what is going on in Iceland? These are normal geological events in Iceland. We've been having volcanic eruptions in Iceland for about 8 years now. It started way down south in the southern end of the Reykjanes Peninsula, and it's gone further and further north. Unreal. Unreal. Demon Catman says, if they decide you're an enemy, a Chihuahua is vicious. Our Chihuahuas are fine. Our Holly, whom I've had here on my lap during our program sometimes, is very docile. However, she can get wrapped up if our Crystal is barking. Crystal gets Holly all wrapped up and starts barking as well. But Crystal's more protective. If Crystal doesn't like you, guess what? You're not going to get near us. If Crystal doesn't like you, you're not going to get near us. It's crazy. Yes, Crystal's very, very loving as well. She's very, very loving. We love them both. They're old now. They're 16 years old. As of September, they had their birthdays, and they're now 16 years old. Fun. Fun dogs. They still act like they're young puppies. They still play with their toys and run up and down the stairs here. Very, very, what shall I say? What's the word? They do zoomies. Zoomies around the living room, zoomies up and down the stairs, zoomies around our patio. Everything is cool. Richard Smith says, could Icelandic activity, volcanic activity, awaken the volcanic system in Nova Scotia? It's not likely. It's not likely. Two different volcanic systems. Two different volcanic systems. Now, if, it's not even it. Way down south, way down in the South Pacific. In fact, let me bring up the USGS map for this. I want to show you something. Take off my mug and a banner here. And yes, we've had another earthquake, a good-sized earthquake over in the Cascade subduction zone area. Okay? Now, let's go way down south in the Pacific here. Way down south here in the South Pacific, there is a magma plume underneath the earth. The magma plume underneath the ground is very deep, originating down in the mantle. Down in the mantle. This lava plume originating from way down here in the South Pacific supplies magma to all the volcanoes around the world. To all the volcanoes around the world. With that said, that is why we're having volcanic eruptions at a lot of the volcanoes around the world. Okay? Over here. Yes, we have volcanoes over here in Indonesia. This is a large 5.2 magnitude earthquake, 186 kilometers west of Aveyah, Indonesia. Okay? On land. This was a 5.2 large earthquake. The people here in Aveyah, Indonesia and Papua New Guinea are very poor. Very poor. When an earthquake like this happens, it rattles the people here. They don't have building standards like we have. They basically live in shacks. flimsy cardboard and wooden shacks. When an earthquake like this strikes, those shacks get destroyed and they have to rebuild their homes. This area gets hit with cyclones. Cyclones here are hurricanes. They're like hurricanes. They blow in here and destroy their homes and kill people. But there's also volcanoes over here. Okay? When a volcano erupts, it can cause an earthquake to happen. When a volcano erupts, it can cause a large earthquake, a 5.0 earthquake. Okay? As you can see, there are other earthquakes over here in Indonesia, south central Indonesia. The problem with that, USGS is not showing all the earthquakes. There are 14 earthquakes here in Indonesia. USGS is showing 4. We go further north. This is over near Guam, southwest of Guam, 178 kilometers southwest of Guam. This is another large 5.2 earthquake here. Okay? This is one of the deepest earthquake faults in the world. It's the edge of the plate here. It's the edge of the plate. That's a 5.2 southwest of Guam. This is a 4.7, a moderate 4.7. This is 49 kilometers east of Yigo Village, Guam. East of Guam. Okay? Look where Guam is right there. Okay? This 4.7 was not even felt. The ocean waters absorbed the shock waves of this quake, and also the 5.2 earthquake down here for the south here. The ocean waters absorbed the shock waves from this quake, and nobody felt it. We go up here to southern Japan. This is a 4.8 moderate earthquake here, 18 kilometers southeast of Miyazaki, Japan. This is right along the coastline. Some people living in this area may have felt this earthquake. It was close enough to the shoreline that they may have felt some kind of rumbling. But again, most of the shock waves from this moderate earthquake were absorbed by the ocean waters of the Pacific here. Further north here in Honshu, this is another 4.6 earthquake here, 6 kilometers west-southwest of Yokohama, Japan. Okay? Right here. Okay? Now, it's just barely offshore. 6 kilometers offshore. People here may have also felt parts of this quake. Unreal. Ruth St. John, welcome back. We haven't seen Ruth here in some time. Thank you for being here, Ruth. We appreciate you. We appreciate you so much being here, Ruth. Anyway, that was in Japan today. Again, the volcanoes. There are volcanoes all over Japan. For example, over here. Sakurajima volcano is over here. Okay? The magma from way down in the southern Pacific also comes up here. There are many volcanoes here in Japan. Sakurajima is just one of the biggest ones. Okay? All kinds of volcanoes, including over here in the Kamchatka Peninsula. Huge volcanoes here. Shibalush, Klyocheskoi volcano, Karimsky volcano, to name 3, right here on the Kamchatka Peninsula, Russia. Over here, volcanoes all over the Aleutian Island Fault Zone. Volcanoes everywhere here. Here's a 3.0 97 kilometers south of Attica, Alaska. Volcanoes here, right here. This is a 0.6 microquake over here at this volcano here. That's how all of these islands in the Aleutian Islands were made, through volcanic action. Through volcanic action. Down here in Hawaii, good old Hawaii here, the mainland island, okay? All kinds of seismic activity here caused by magma. Caused by magma. This is an offshore volcano here, under what they call an undersea mount volcano. This is a 2.1 earthquake here. All these earthquakes hit around Pahala, Hawaii. This is a 2.1 earthquake right next to the city of Pahala. This is the city of Pahala, and this earthquake hit just southeast of the city. It's just a minor earthquake. Nobody even felt this earthquake. People don't feel earthquakes unless they're at least a 3.2, maybe a 3.5 earthquake. Then people are going to feel them. The only time a minor earthquake can be felt is by someone that's very, very sensitive to seismic energy. But all these earthquakes here, for example, this is a 2.0. This is caused by magma coming to the island here at Pahala. Pahala is like a gas station here on the Big Island. Pahala here is where all the magma comes from, coming to the Big Island, and then there are magma tunnels or magma chambers going to all the volcanoes. Going to all the volcanoes. Over here, a 1.8 tremor. North of Kilauea here, another 1.8 tremor here. Okay? All the magma out here. Right here, this is a 0.6 microquake caused by magma over here in the fern forest. Further out here in the East Rib Zone, this is a 1.9 2.0 earthquake in Leilani Estates. Now, what happened in 2019? Can anybody remember what happened in 2019? There was a lot of lava at Kilauea and Pu'u'o volcanoes here on the Big Island. The lava disappeared, went back out underground. What happened? Great big huge fissures erupted here on the Big Island. Over here in Fern Forest, where this earthquake is. You can see the gray area here. This is where lava came out of the ground here and poured down the landscape and went out to the ocean. This is lava here. Where you see all these areas that look like clouds, these are lava plumes, where sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide hit the atmosphere from the lava coming up from the ground. These are all lava plumes here. Deadly lava plumes. Magma reached over to Leilani Estates. There was a total of 24 fissures that opened up. 24 fissures opened up and poured lava out of the volcano here all over the landscape. Anywhere where you see these gray areas is where lava poured out into the landscape. When the lava poured out over here in Leilani Estates, the lava made its way to the ocean. Now we have multiple acres here, I think 20 acres here of land that were added by the lava that came out of the ground here during the 2019 eruption. Okay? Unreal. But guess what is happening here on the Big Island? Okay? Right here. Mauna Loa volcano. This is over here on the northeastern side of Mauna Loa. Okay? This is a 2.0 earthquake. Magma at Mauna Loa is causing this earthquake. This earthquake is 7 kilometers deep. Actually, I'm sorry, it's 0.7 kilometers deep. It means it's just beneath the surface. Over on the western side of Mauna Loa here, this is a 1.8 tremor here. This is 6.4 kilometers deep, 3 miles deep here. Okay? We go north, up here to Mauna Kea. Yes, another volcano right here, Mauna Kea volcano. This is a 2.2 earthquake. Over here on the west side of Mauna Kea, this is a 2.1 earthquake here. This is 11 kilometers deep. This one here is 7 kilometers deep. Mauna Kea actually has more earthquakes at this volcano than Mauna Loa. And USGS is never telling us the truth, even when they show us earthquakes. If I went over here and pulled up the seismograms, I could show you dozens and dozens of earthquakes here at Mauna Kea, and only probably a dozen earthquakes at Mauna Loa, although they say Mauna Loa is going to erupt again. Okay? Down here. Okay? Over here on the western side of Mauna Loa, just a 1.8 tremor here. Magma coming to the Big Island here, coming up to Pahala, and the magma is being distributed to all the volcanoes from Pahala. Good old Pahala. Okay? Let's go back up here into the mainland United States and talk about what happened here in the Cascadia subduction zone. Right here. We've got 2 earthquakes here. These are on the southeastern side of the Blanco fracture zone. The southeastern side of the Blanco fracture zone here. Okay? I want to make sure you guys can see this. This is important. Okay? While this is on the Blanco fracture zone, there's something else that needs to be said here. This is part of the Cascadia subduction zone region. The Cascadia subduction zone region. While we have earthquakes here, it all comes down to the Cascadia subduction zone. This is a 3.2 earthquake here, just west of Langlois, Oregon. 181 kilometers west of Langlois, Oregon. This earthquake here is also a 3.0 west of Langlois, Oregon. It's part of the Cascadia subduction zone, guys. This red fault line running along parallel to the west coast of the United States. It's called the Cascadia subduction zone. The Cascadia subduction zone reaches up to Queen Charlotte Island here to the north. They call it Haida Gwaii now. The Cascadia subduction zone reaches all the way up here and goes all the way down to Northern California. Okay? This is the approximate location where we're going to have the 9.0, 10.0 Cascadia earthquake. The 9.0, 10.0 magnitude earthquake is going to happen off the coast of Seattle here, between the Cascadia subduction zone, over here right near the coast, and out here into the what they call the Juan de Fuca Fault. Juan de Fuca Fault. That is a zigzag fault line here that you see. Okay? This is where the Cascadia subduction zone is going to be here with this earthquake. Major earthquake. It's going to cause all kinds of problems. Now, I was not prepared to talk about the earthquakes happening at the volcanoes. Now, someone over on Facebook, in one of our Facebook groups, talking about earthquakes at the volcanoes. Okay? They said that Mount Rainier and further to the south, Mount St. Helens was not getting anywhere near ready to erupt. I had to caution them. Yes, Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier are having symptoms of a near eruption. Both of these volcanoes are getting to the point where they're going to erupt at some point in time. I'm not saying it's imminent. I'm not saying that these volcanoes will erupt today, tomorrow, or even next year. But they could erupt at any time. That's what I'm saying. All the earthquakes and activity that are happening at these volcanoes here show signs of an imminent eruption coming up. Okay? I wanted to make sure that we talked about this. This is very concerning when I hear people that say that the Cascadia subduction zone and the volcanoes are not getting ready to erupt. They are. These volcanoes are getting ready to erupt. Okay? These volcanoes are getting ready to erupt. Maybe tomorrow I'll show you some of the seismograms from these volcanoes. That way you'll see what's happening. Last week I showed you the seismograms here, and yes, they are getting ready to erupt. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about any of the earthquakes and what is going on here with these volcanoes? I think it's very important that we talk about it. I think it's very important we talk about it. Because no one gets it. No one gets it. And the USGS is not going to tell you about it. They don't want anybody to know what's going on. They don't want anybody to know what's happening. And they won't tell anybody if something's going to erupt. They didn't tell anybody what was going on with Mount St. Helens the last time Mount St. Helens erupted. And as a result, even one of their own scientists was killed by the volcanic eruption at Mount St. Helens. First, they said that there might be a volcanic eruption, and then they evacuated people, and then the volcano calmed down for about a week, and they let people back. And the next day, the volcano erupted and killed people. 52 people died at the eruption of Mount St. Helens back in 1980. Incredible. Let's go up further north here. I had to take the map down because USGS had shut down our map here. Right up here, Finley Point, Montana. This is a minus 0.2 microquake here. 1 kilometer east of Finley Point, Montana. Go further south here. This is a 2.2 earthquake in Helena, Montana. A 2.2 minor earthquake at Helena, Montana. We go almost directly south. Pony, Montana, 0.3 microquake here. South and west of there. This is a 0.7 Dillon, Montana. All these areas are on the western continental divide. The western continental divide, the Rocky Mountains. Demon Catman, what is it that you are asking if I have access to? Oh, that little button? By the top of the chat here, let me see. What is it you guys want me to click on? The chat settings, community moderation, I have it with ban words. Don can't find it. We're on different things, yes. Yes, I see community moderations here. If you click on community moderation, they'll come up with the settings area, and then you'll see where the moderators are, and you scroll down, and you can see the bad words that I have banned here. Okay? Bad words. There's a whole passel of them here. Okay? There's a whole passel of words here that, yes, I have banned here. Anyway, I want to go over here to the east side, south and east of this earthquake here. This is Mammoth, Wyoming. Mammoth, Wyoming. Mammoth, Wyoming also has geysers here. Okay, Mammoth, Wyoming has a bunch of geysers here. Just like the Norris Geyser Basin over near West Yellowstone. We have a 1.7 tremor here. We have a 1.2 tremor here. And we have a 2.1 minor earthquake here. Mammoth, Wyoming. These earthquakes here are just a mile deep. 1 mile deep here underneath the geyser basin here in Mammoth, Wyoming. Okay? It's impressive. It's impressive. Okay, let's see here. Christine says she lives in northwestern Utah. That's cool. We have a lot of people in northwestern Utah that monitor this program. Don is one of my dearest friends in Sandy, Utah. Great area, guys. Great area to be in. I used to live in Sandy, Utah myself. Until I moved over here to North Carolina. Great thing. This over here is Stanley, Idaho, guys. Stanley, Idaho. These are minor tremors here in Stanley, Idaho. Stanley, Idaho has these earthquakes here because there are huge fault zones. Huge fault zones. You can see them here as I zoomed in here. You can see the faults here. That is why we're getting earthquakes here in Idaho. Stanley, Idaho. This is a 1.5 tremor. This is a 1.4 tremor. And this is near Smiths Ferry, Idaho. Okay? Great thing. Going further east here. This is Harvard, Nebraska. Harvard, Nebraska. This is a 2.8 earthquake here. Let's zoom in here. Yes, folks, Nebraska also has its own what? What do you think all these horizontal, these rectangular and square pads are? Oil fields, guys. This is a 2.8 earthquake. Harvard, Nebraska, in an oil field. Oil field, guys. You can see it here. Right smack dab in the middle of an oil field. 2.8 oil field earthquake in Nebraska here. You don't see that too often. You come down here to Oklahoma. Another 2.4 earthquake in Newcastle, Oklahoma. Oil and gas here. Oil and gas. Southern Texas. This is a 3.0 earthquake in Dilley, Texas. Dilley, Texas. Oil and gas here. Northwest of there, Forson, Texas here. 1.3 tremor, oil and gas. Over here in southwestern Texas, we're continuing to have swarms of earthquakes here. These are oil and gas earthquakes. Oil and gas earthquakes. This one is in Balmora, Texas here. 2.0 earthquake. Oil and gas here. Look at this. Look at the oil and gas pads here. Oil and gas pumping operations here. Here, where all these swarms are happening. Oil and gas here too. Look at this. Look at the oil and gas pads here. Oil and gas earthquakes here. This red earthquake that just happened, red says it's just happened. This is a 2.2 earthquake here. Let's go over this swarm here. This is a 1.6. This is a 2.2 earthquake. This is a 3.4 small earthquake here. Again, this is an oil and gas field here. That's why we're having these earthquakes here. Oil and gas exploration here in Texas. Okay? We have an earthquake over here to the east. The pneumatic fault zone. This is another 1.8 tremor in Marston, Missouri. Marston, Missouri. This is the central part of the pneumatic fault. This is not the only earthquake here in Marston, Missouri. There are dozens of other tremors and minor earthquakes here in Marston, Missouri today. I don't know why USGS decides that they're going to show a tremor when there's multiple tremors here. They ought to show multiple tremors, not just one. Okay? The pneumatic fault zone is very active. The pneumatic fault zone is going to pop. Okay? Probably within the next 2 years. Judging by all the activity we keep showing you here, when we show you the seismographs here in Missouri, it's going to pop. It's going to pop. The earthquake that we just heard about here in Colombia, this is that 4.4 they talked about. This is 170 kilometers deep. Still a fairly shallow quake. Over here, just off the coast of Panama here. Just off the coast of Panama here. This is a 4.8 earthquake. 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. This is a 4.8 moderate earthquake. What they're not showing you, there's a dozen other earthquakes here in Central America. A dozen other earthquakes between Panama, Costa Rica, El Salvador, and Nicaragua, and Guatemala. Over here in southern Mexico, they're definitely not showing us anything over here in southern Mexico. Why not? Inquiring minds want to know. There's 23 earthquakes here in southern Mexico right here. They never talk about it. Rarely do they ever show any earthquakes here in southern Mexico. None. But there's 24 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. They should be showing it. Because that seismic energy is moving north into California. It always moves north into southern California. Going over here into Puerto Rico, and even the Dominican Republic here. This is a 4.1 earthquake in eastern Dominican Republic. Boca de Yuma, Dominican Republic, 4.1 moderate earthquake. Over here between the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, this is the Mona waterway here. Okay? The Mona Strait. We have 3 earthquakes here. We have a 3.3, we have a 4.0, and we have another 3.3. Look where they're at. Look where they're at. Folks, this appears to me to be a possible volcanic area. This appears to be a volcanic area underneath the ocean here. Just saying. Just saying. Over here in southwestern Puerto Rico, all of these earthquakes here are aftershocks. They're aftershocks of two major earthquakes that hit here December 26th and December 28th, 2019. On December 26th, there was an 8.0 earthquake here. Man-made earthquake. An 8.0 major earthquake here. December 28th, there was an 8.4 earthquake here, causing damage and destruction and death. Damage, destruction, and death. Man-made earthquakes caused by, I'll show you here in just a second. Let me show you this. Otherwise, you might not even realize what happened. On December 26th and December 28th, this organization right here, a location in Norway, a location in Russia, and a location in northwestern Australia. This organization lit up. They triangulated Puerto Rico, causing these earthquakes. Causing those earthquakes. We're still having earthquakes here today as a result of those facilities opening up, triangulating Puerto Rico, causing all these earthquakes here. Okay? Offshore here. This is a 2.5 earthquake here. 2.5 earthquake here. This is a 2.3 southeast of Maria Antonia, Puerto Rico. This is a 2.5 near Indios, Puerto Rico. This is a 2.2 3 kilometers west-southwest of Indios, Puerto Rico. This is a 2.1. Okay? What happened? The organization I just got through showing you, please do not put this in the chat. I don't want to see that name or those letters appear in the chat. When it happens in the past, our channel got taken down because YouTube doesn't want us to talk about it. What happened? They triangulated southwestern Puerto Rico, causing those two major earthquakes to happen. One the day after Christmas. The next one 3 days after Christmas. Major destruction. Homes and business buildings fell here in Puerto Rico. People died. The people that survived had to live outside their homes because they thought their homes were going to fall down again. There were hundreds of aftershocks. Hundreds and hundreds of aftershocks. And as you can see, we're still seeing aftershocks 4 years later. 4 years later here in Puerto Rico. That's what happens when you have a major earthquake like this. Unreal. I don't often show this because it gets into my discussion of why it happened. And I get pissed. I get pissed. This earthquake here, this is a different kind of earthquake. This is a 3.7 small earthquake. It's on the Cayman Trench. See this trench here? This red line? This red line originates over here in Guatemala. Originates in Guatemala. From Guatemala, it goes eastbound into the Caribbean. Then it takes a turn north for a couple 100 miles, and then it goes eastward again. It passes over the north side of Jamaica, on the southern end of Cuba here. It continues eastbound over Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and over Puerto Rico, and over the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Then it takes a southerly turn on the other side, the east side of the Leeward Islands here, and continues south and takes a westerly until it takes a westerly turn into Venezuela here. The Cayman Ridge. Cayman Ridge. The Cayman Ridge causes a lot of earthquakes. Seismic energy leaves Central America in Guatemala and comes out here. It happens all the time. It literally happens all the time. Now, down here in the South Atlantic Ocean, this is a 5.0 earthquake, downgraded to 4.9 in the South Sandwich Islands. South Sandwich Islands. There was an earthquake out here, also on the Antarctic Ridge, where this earthquake is. There was another 5.1 earthquake here the other day. I said that energy was going to go up here into the South Atlantic. We haven't seen it. That means we have seismic energy sitting here. The Atlantic Ocean is expanding. The Atlantic plate here is expanding. It's pushing Africa and Europe in an easterly direction. It's pushing South America, North America, Canada, and the United States and Mexico in a south-southwesterly direction. It's expanding. That's why we have earthquakes here. And unfortunately, USGS is not showing them to us. I want to show you other earthquakes here, but they're not showing them to us. This earthquake here in Iran last night. This earthquake here was a 5.1 earthquake. They have reduced it to a 4.9. Guess what, folks? They call it, that came out as a 5.1. They're calling it a 4.9. Immediately, because Iran has the weapons. Iran has nukes. I immediately went to the back seismologist study page to look at this earthquake. Folks, this was not and is not a 4.9 or even a 5.1. There are multiple seismometers or seismographs that record this earthquake. Yes, there are some seismographs that show it to be a 1.5 tremor. How can that be when USGS has it as a 5.1 or even a 4.9? It's impossible. But folks, this earthquake was an 8.0 earthquake. 8.0 earthquake. There are multiple seismographs showing this earthquake to be an 8.4, 8.8, 8.9, 7.9, 7.4, 7.1 earthquake. Folks, I believe Iran last night was testing one of their BOMBS. I believe Iran last night was testing one of their BOMBS underground here. This was a far larger earthquake than USGS was even telling us about. And notice this, they are not showing any aftershocks. They're not showing any aftershocks. A major earthquake like this, would cause a lot of aftershocks. And yet, they're not showing it. Regardless of whether it was man-made or not, there would be dozens and dozens of aftershocks, and they're not showing it. Okay? This is one of the biggest takeaways from what happened last night in Ukraine. Now, something else that you probably ought to know about. Something else that you probably ought to know about. Over here, in the Caspian Sea here, just north of this earthquake is the Caspian Sea. Russia had 2 command and control aircraft up. One of those command and control aircraft was headed for Iran, and another was headed for Israel, Tel Aviv. One command and control aircraft was headed for Tel Aviv and another one for Iran. They passed over the Caspian Sea last night after the bombers and Russia lit off that ICBM. Okay? I have to keep asking why that Russia was heading for Tel Aviv. I can understand why they would head for Iran, but why would they be heading for Tel Aviv? Don Pato's asking Nagaharan, why would they do that? I don't know. But I was watching the FlightAware software, watching these great big huge command and control Russian aircraft go over the Caspian Sea. One of them headed south to Tel Aviv, and the other one went over here into Iran. That is one of the reasons I talked about what was going on last night on our community, part of our Emergency Management Associates YouTube channel. I wanted to make sure what was going on. I even went on the air and did a video short to let everybody know what was going on. I think it's high time that everybody knows. I think it's high time that everybody realizes what is going on. It was not just Ukraine last night. It was not just Ukraine last night. Again, Russia had its 6 Tu Bear bombers up, as well as some other fighter aircraft. They also had these command and control aircraft up as well. Yes, they did attack Ukraine, but they also came down here to Tel Aviv and Iran. And yes, I was monitoring them on high frequency ham radio and also shortwave radio. You could hear the communication. You could hear the communication. And no, they were not even hiding as Don Patoga says here. They were not hiding it at all. At one point in time, the Russians turned off their tracking equipment in the planes. They turned off the tracking equipment so the planes were not identifiable. But I followed the planes down to Tel Aviv. I followed the one plane down into Iran. Anybody with any questions? Tim Gibson says, look out Israel. I agree. I totally agree. I think it's high time everybody realizes what's going on. Yes, there are earthquakes over here in Tajikistan and this area just south and west of China here. Tajikistan, Kazakhstan. Last night they had Russian planes headed there as well. And they told those people to evacuate. Russia told the people of Tajikistan and Kazakhstan to evacuate their towns. Unreal. Unreal. I think it's important enough to talk about. I think everybody needs to know about it. Because if nobody else talks about it, what's going to happen? Russia's just going to do whatever they want. And then people will get hurt. People will get hurt. And then it's our own faults. If we don't monitor what's going on around us, nobody else is going to. And I think it needs to be talked about. It needs to be talked about highly, highly. We have nearly 700 people that have seen this program so far. I'm hoping we get even more than that. People need to know what's going on. Now, I will be monitoring Russian airtime on radio, and I will be monitoring their aircraft tonight, because I have a feeling Russia's going to do it again. And everybody needs to know about it. Does anybody have any questions about anything I've told you so far? Jacqueline says she doesn't think she's prepared for what's coming. I hope you can be. We've been talking about preparedness for a very long time. Tomorrow night is Friday, Preparedness Friday. Tomorrow night we're going to be talking about emergency preparedness. Okay? You have every reason to be prepared, because we talk about preparedness. We talk about how to write an emergency preparedness plan. Last week we talked about preparedness items, specific items that everybody needs to have in their kit, in their backpack, whatever you use for your preparedness kit. We talked about it. Is there anything specific that you all would like me to talk about tomorrow night? Christine is asking, do you have any problems in Utah Valley? Christine, over on the east side of the Utah Valley, you guys have a major earthquake fault. That major earthquake fault is capable of a 7.5 major earthquake. A 7.5 major earthquake. Arnold Smith, I will give you my call sign, but I'm not going to put it here on the air. I'll give you my call sign. I'll send it to you in an email. Yes, I'll send it to you in an email. And Christine, it's not just that earthquake fault. There are a ton of earthquake faults throughout the desert area there. All the way out into Tooele and all the way out into Nevada there. Earthquake faults all over the desert floor. And everybody should know about it. The Salt Lake Valley, just back in 2018, had a 5.6 very large earthquake. A 5.6 very large earthquake just south of the Great Salt Lake. Don Patoka says, Wasatch, question mark? Yeah. Not an issue if you ignore it. You can go, Christine and Don and everybody, if you go over to the University of Utah, to their seismology department on the internet, go and look at the seismograms. We have small, minor earthquakes and tremors hitting all over the desert floor. Literally all over the desert floor and all up and down the fault line. from southwestern Idaho all the way down to central Utah. The whole fault line is moving. The whole fault line is moving. Pamela, it's good to see you. Pamela Crabtree's here in the chat. Thank you for being here, Pamela. We appreciate you. Now we have 720 views. That's awesome. Is there something that you guys would like me to talk about tomorrow night, Friday, Preparedness Friday, on our program? Is there anything specific that you guys would like me to talk about? Because I will. I will. I care about you guys. I care about you a lot. That's why we have this channel. I started broadcasting here on YouTube some 5.5 years ago. Let's see, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, nearly a year. April 3rd next year will be a year, and be another year, so it'll be 6 years that I will have been on the air. Why? We first started talking about earthquakes. Then we talked about every other disaster that could ever be had. Why? Because we had straight line winds that caused damage to people's property. We had tornadoes. We had hurricanes. We had shootings. We had explosions. We had train wrecks dumping major chemicals on the earth, and then some dumb idiots decide they're going to violate the law, violate protocol, and light this chemical that's now leached into the soil. They were going to light it on fire, further spreading the deadly chemical into the air. Yes, there's a reason we talk about preparedness. We talk about all kinds of things that are going to happen and have happened. We've had explosions at factories in Texas, oil refineries in Texas, explosions all throughout the United States. There's a reason. Because everybody's lives are in danger. Everybody's lives are in danger around the world. Just because USGS doesn't show any earthquakes in New Zealand doesn't mean they're not there. 18 earthquakes today in New Zealand. USGS shows none. There are 24 earthquakes in South America. How many are showing from USGS? They're showing one earthquake in Central America. They're showing no earthquakes in southern Mexico. There are probably 500 earthquakes in the Imperial Valley of California. How many earthquakes are they showing? Relatively none. There are about 200 earthquakes in Los Angeles. Why are they only showing a handful of earthquakes there? Inquiring minds want to know. Right now, there are over 1,000 earthquakes worldwide, and USGS showing 217. They're lying again. They don't know how to tell the truth. That's the problem here. They don't know how to tell the truth, and they don't do it. They don't do it. My buddy Canadian Patriot 1 is also here. He was with us on the channel yesterday. I'm hoping you guys got a lot out of having he and Barry on the program last night. Barry and Dave are very close friends of mine. Brothers. Stuka says we're all living in a lie. You're right. Because the powers that be don't want to tell the truth. Unreal. Jacqueline says she's so scared of earthquakes after experiencing the 4.8 in Philadelphia. Jacqueline, that's not the only earthquake that you're going to see and are seeing in Pennsylvania. There are dozens of earthquakes in Pennsylvania. They're just not showing them. And they never show them on the earthquake map. And it's not just earthquakes you have to worry about in Pennsylvania. A lot of things going on that you need to be aware of. Your politicians are stabbing you in the back as we speak. Unreal. Anyway, guys, that's the end of our show. I want to remind everybody to share this program far and wide. Share with your family and extended family. Share with your friends and neighbors. Share with the people you speak with on social media. Share with the people you work with. There's nothing on this program that would embarrass you by sharing this program. We need to grow this channel so more and more people will be prepared. Share this program far and wide, guys. We'd appreciate it. Also, check and make sure you're still subscribed to this channel. YouTube is continually unsubscribing people here. We're getting close to having 8,000 subscribers again. My other channel before YouTube took it down had 25,000 subscribers. I'd like to grow this channel again that high. Why? Because I want to get the word out about what's going on, so everybody can be prepared. So share this program far and wide, guys. Make sure you're subscribed so you know when we come on the air. When you subscribe yourself to the channel, there's something else that you need to do. Right next to the little subscription button, there's a little tiny bell icon. A little tiny bell icon. Click on that icon. A drop-down menu of 3 items will appear. Click on the word all. That should get you notified when we come on the air. To be advised, YouTube doesn't like us. I tell you all right now, and I keep telling you all this. We come on the air between 6 and 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. We try to take the weekend off. Sometimes we come back on the air just like I did last night, when there's an emergency. It doesn't matter what time of day, night or day, I'll come on the air and talk about it. I have done that. I've come on the air on weekends. If something's happening, I want everybody to know about it. On Sundays, I teach a Sunday school class called Come Follow Me, the Savior Said. I am a gospel doctor and instructor. I love the Savior. I teach Sunday school for a reason, because I want people to understand who the Lord is. And each one of us, can take hints from the Lord through the Holy Ghost to better our lives. Jacqueline says she's going to send us a Thanksgiving card. We'd love that. Carol and I would love that. Please do. We would love that more than anything. Carol loves the cards. Carol gets the biggest kick out of the cards and letters. She loves it. We don't get too many. We would love all of you to send us occasional card and letter. We used to get 2 or 3 cards and letters every week. Now we might get 1 or 2 cards a month. More cards and letters, the better. Yes, Jesus is coming soon. That's why I teach Sunday school. Because I believe the Lord wants us to know what's going on. The Lord wants us to be prepared for His coming. And yes, I believe His coming is imminent. I want to share a scripture with you. And I think this is important. And I am the same who hideth up this record unto the Lord, The place thereof are of no worth because of the commandment of the Lord. For he truly saith that no one shall have them to get gain, but the record is of great worth. And whoso shall bring it to light, him will the Lord bless. And blessed be he that shall bring this thing to light. For it shall be brought out of darkness unto light, according to the word of God. Yea, and it shall be brought out of the earth, and it shall shine forth out of darkness, and come unto the knowledge of the people, and it shall be done by the power of God. The power of God are in the Scriptures, brothers and sisters. The power of God are in the Scriptures. If you read the Scriptures, you are going to find out what the Lord wants for you to do. God bless you all. Please read your Scriptures. Make your Scriptures a part of your life. Make it a lifestyle. Wendy B47 here says, hello everyone, rewinding. I love the Scriptures. Stuka says we all must pray. I totally agree. We all must pray. If we pray, let's not get into the idea that we do repetitious prayers. However, pray for something very specific that the Lord wants to bless you with and that you want additional blessings for. Pray for specifics and the Lord will bless you. I ask the Lord to be with you this night and always. I ask a blessing upon each of your heads, that your lives will be blessed, that you will be lifted up at the last day, that you'll be able to help your families, your children, your extended family, to know that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God. I know that. Brothers and sisters, may God be with you this day and always. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Much love. See you soon. God bless.